Smartly, the Prime Minister, he had gone to Bahrain, and from there he pushed off to London. He's supposed to be in London for 3 or 4 days. I don't know whether he's come back or when he will come back. So he is deliberately staying out of this because he clearly doesn't want to issue the notification giving Asim Munir 5 years as Army Chief and as Chief of Defence Forces. Because his tenure finished yesterday. And as per the amendment, the 27th Amendment to the Constitution, there is now a Chief of Defence Force, and the term of the Army Chief will be coterminous with the CDF and runs for 5 years. But there has to be a notification. You see, I'll read out the provision of the Army Act which was modified. Provided that for the first appointment of Chief of Army Staff, concurrently the Chief of Defence Forces, under Article 243 of the Constitution, the tenure under this section shall commence from the date of notification of the said office. Now, because there is no notification issued yet, so then the obvious question is that Munir would have retired yesterday. Now, some people feel that there is a controversy. This is very clear that only from the date of notification can he continue as Army Chief and Chief of Defence Forces. But some people feel that the Army Act was also amended in 2004, under which the tenure of the Army Chief was for 5 years. So he's done 3 years, 22 to 25. He has another 2 years to go. So they feel that no new notification is actually required. Now this is controversial. And we don't know which way or how the judiciary will look at it, or how the government will look at it. But the fact of the matter is that this makes his position very tenuous. At the same time, there are reports that there are other generals in the general headquarters and within the top echelons of the army who are now jostling for position to become Army Chief or to become, there are 2 new posts of 4 stars that have been created. So all in all, this is a very messy state of affairs. And if the fact remains that he is no longer the Army Chief, then you have a situation where Pakistan doesn't have an Army Chief, and even the Nuclear Command Authority, which was supposed to be under a new post of Strategic Forces Command, that is also not there. So it's an extremely strange situation that Pakistan is under at the moment. You see, very smartly, the Prime Minister, he had gone to Bahrain, and from there he pushed off to London. He's supposed to be in London for 3 or 4 days. I don't know whether he's come back or when he will come back. So he is deliberately staying out of this because he clearly doesn't want to issue the notification giving Asim Munir 5 years as Army Chief and as Chief of Defence Forces. So he thinks that by keeping away from Pakistan and not having to sign the notification, he can escape the consequences. But this situation can't continue. You can't have a nuclear-armed country without a Chief of the Army Staff or without somebody in charge of the Nuclear Command Authority. You see, the fact is that the civilian leadership is extremely weak to oppose Asim Munir and the military. So they are doing these tricks by the back door. If they were strong, they could have told him, sorry, we're not going to give you 5 years, we're not going to make you Chief of Defence Forces. But this was rammed through Parliament because of the pressure of the army to create this post of Chief of Defence Forces, which also is the head of the Air Force and the Navy. So it is because of the weakness of the civilian government. That's the reason why they are delaying it through backdoor tactics rather than being upfront. They clearly don't want to appoint or sign the notification for 5 years as CDF, or in 5 years, another 5 years. He's already done 3 years. So by the time he finishes, he would have done 8 years. He could then even seek 5 years after that. Just to prove his utility and the fact that he must continue and the notification should be issued, he could provoke an incident. Even though legally, technically, he may not be army chief, but he could still provoke it. Who's to challenge him? So it's a very unsatisfactory situation. I would say even a very serious situation for Pakistan. Certainly, because you have an army and they're not sure whether he's the chief or not. And in case he gets it into his mind to provoke an incident with India, what happens then? So it's a dangerous situation.